Hello and welcome to Springboard, your virtual university. My name is Albert Okran. Welcoming you to Ghana's foremost developmental program and that place where the greatest minds in the world converge. Springboard is brought to you by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation and proudly sponsored by MTN Ghana and the Enterprise Group, powered by the Ghana Growth Program, a collaboration between the MasterCard Foundation and the Springboard Roadshow Foundation. Our media partners are the Multimedia Group and the Graphic Communications Group. So the month of October is celebrated across the world as World Dyslexia Month. We've been privileged in the past editions to have some wonderful friends of Springboard come through and talk about dyslexia. But guess what? Between then and now, in my humble opinion, the awareness has increased. Many have found help. So in this particular conversation, we are looking at the triumphs of people living with dyslexia. My guests for today, famous, likable friends of Springboard. First, Rosalin Kyere-Nartey. Rosalin was here a couple of months ago, 3 months ago or so, and touched many lives with her conversation. Executive Director of the Africa Dyslexia Organization. Rosalin, good to see you.
Thank you so much. So good to see you.
Right. Since the last time, you literally blew the whole world apart with that conversation.
We give glory to God for that. And you made it possible on your platform. So
Yes.
we're happy to share more insight on that.
Yeah, we'll explore some of the incredible reactions to that conversation. I found it very heartwarming, I must tell you that. And then I have my dear friend, brother, the traditional ruler of the republic within a republic, the chief of Akwemu Edumasa, and broadcast journalist, my own Nana Ansah Kwao the Fourth. Nana, thank you so much for making time.
Most welcome, Reverend, and I think I'm very honored to be on this big platform.
No, you are the co-owner of the platform. So then, are you surprised? Last 3 months ago or so ago, Rosalin was in here and we had a conversation about dyslexia and the impact, the response across the world, and the heartwarming reactions were, it was very instructive for me. But are you surprised?
I am surprised, considering the number of people living with the condition and how it's, there's no knowledge or no suspicion of it at all. I wish when I was in school, somebody would have told my parents about it, and life would have been much, 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 much easier for me then. So, we thank Rosalin for, championing the cause and pushing. And I'm sure the number of children and lives she's saving, you have no idea. Because otherwise, most people just write off the awards, because you could have like 3 siblings, one will be suffering from it. And so they think that the 2 are very smart and you are just being lazy. So let's just focus on the 2 who are academically inclined and forget about you. And children will always find where they are recognized. Children will always seek recognition. So if you're not fortunate and they find recognition in bad company, they're gone.
We'll come to that very shortly. But I tell you, the reaction that touched me the most, Rosalin, to your interview came all the way from Takoradi. A good friend of mine, and I got his permission to mention his name, Reverend Albert Oting, reached out and said, "This is my solution. It's taking us years to find this." And he listened with his son and he called me crying. He says, "Listen, nobody told me, but this is it." Tell me, how did you feel getting to finally meet him with his brilliant young son and seeing the light in his eyes as you interacted with him? Tell me what it meant for you.
It was so enriching. Like, you meet Nana, and I wish he's here with us, just sitting and listening to you and can articulate. I feel Nana has that memory where he just listens and can articulate everything you said verbatim, but put it on paper and he can't find his way. And such a brilliant young man is harboring a lot of emotion that I am not good. I'm not enough. I'm not like my siblings. I'm not like my classmates. And so I was so proud of him when I met him and shared a lot of stories of successful dyslexics to him. And I am happy about one thing, that if we didn't even achieve anything from that segment we had with you, that Nana now understand that his ability surpass just making mistake in reading and writing. But then he also know that at this age, being 11-year-old, he can still have the intervention to correct his reading and writing skills. And so all is not lost. So that has given him some confidence now to stand up and believe in himself. And I know that boy, if we mentor him carefully and expose him to resources that will help him, he's going to be one of the greatest speakers we probably will ever have in Ghana.
Can you imagine this? Guess what? So I reached out to his parents and said to his father, listen to that interview with your son. Mm-hmm. So they listened together, and he made a mistake and asked him afterwards, Nana, what did you learn? And he was quick enough to record it. And the guy narrated the 1-hour interview word for word without looking at any script.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. So when I sent her the audio of the guy and I told her his age, she was like, this guy's brilliant. And the words brilliant had never been used on the boy.
No.
Actually, he had been told so many times by his teacher that he was dumb that the parents had to change the school because it had affected his confidence. So let's start with the numbers. I was doing a research before this show that said to me that out of an estimated 7.8 billion people in the world, 780 million have dyslexia.
Yes.
That means 1 out of every 10. So I'm looking at, leaving the two of you out, I'm looking across the studio, there are 10 of us here. Possibly one of us is dyslexic.
No, right now we have at least 2 who know that we are
Yes.
dyslexic. But I'm thinking the 8 left now.
No, there are 10.
Oh, there are
So
10
that
left.
makes one of us.
I'm sure 2.
What is it? From the next story, we get an idea about early signs to look out for. But for the benefit of those who say, listen, you are talking about a number of interviews having been held. I still don't even know what dyslexia is. For the benefit of those people, let's start from the basics. What is dyslexia, Nana Ansah Kwao, and what are the signs that a child may have that challenge?
Okay, I'll answer, but that's a question for the professionals, but I would answer it. I mean, it's basically you have a reading and writing difficulty. Some also have a numbers calculation difficulty, and it's like you are able to express it, you understand it, but it's just that you are unable to put it on paper. So for me, for instance, if you ask me to go and read and you test me on it, I have failed. But if we discuss it like this as we are talking, and you ask me to test me on it, I'll pass.
Hold on. Even now,
if you ask me to go and read a book and that you text me on it tomorrow, I've failed.
why?
I can't reproduce it. But if we sit the same subject, if we sit and talk about it, so if it's the characteristics of economics, let's talk verbally. What's the characteristic? A is this, B is that. Fine. If you text me even 2 weeks' time, I'll pass it. But if I'm just sitting in the corner reading the book and then I have to come and reproduce it, it won't happen.
So if
So I
you
must
try
hear
to
it.
convince somebody who listens to your show on Monday evenings and is incredibly amazed at the depth of analysis you are doing on the show, if you try to convince them that even now, after so many years, you have a challenge with reading
and writing.
and writing,
And I
they
make-
wouldn't believe you. I hope you know
Yeah,
that.
and I make a living by reading and writing.
Yes.
Ironically.
So help us reconcile that.
So number one, I have to type in capitals. It has to be very bold.
Okay.
Yeah, for me to be able to read, it has to be big, bold capitals. And it's full of spelling mistakes, but I know
What you have written.
yeah. And I write to communicate to me. So I use different things like 4 full stops, dashes, this, red ink. So I know when to express myself, when to pause. And I write the same way I'm speaking to you now. Literally reproduce how I'm speaking to you now on the paper.
Okay.
So that when I'm reading it to you, you don't think I'm reading. You think I'm just speaking off the cuff. No. I am literally reading verbatim. The only time I stop reading is when I get to the phone calls.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's how I run the show since 2006.
That's almost 20 years.
Yeah, since 2006. So every week I have to sit down and write. I have to rewrite and read through and then come and reproduce it. Anything aside that, I'll mess up.
So you found an amelioration mechanism, something that works for you.
Yeah.
But anyone else who saw your script may see...
No, it may not add up at all.
It won't make sense.
It may not make sense.
How did you figure out this solution that works for you?
I think I was lucky because I had a friend who insisted that, listen, get on radio, because I listened to people on radio and I think you're deeper than them. I think you, and I was thinking, I knew at the time, I wasn't good enough for, look, I'm not good enough for radio. And he says, no, try. So I went to Rainbow Radio 2006 in the UK, pitched the idea of that's my opinion. He said, how's it going to work? I said, look, I know I can make very thought-provoking arguments, so I'll just do that. And this is okay. And I worked with KSM in Sapphire. So he had taught me how to write scripts and how to rewrite and how to, so I added the two. I said, okay, I'll just script everything down, read through, but I have to script it as though I am talking to you now. So like now, because I paused, I'll put like 4 full stops. So I know I have to pause to stress. And I have to do ×2 to know that this point is very important. So go back and repeat it. So...
Do you think, just for my own education, do you think that this script that you've written, this approach you've used, can be transferred word for word to somebody who's also dyslexic, and they will understand it based on how you communicate it?
No, you probably have to customize it a bit. Right. You see, because I'm literally writing. I
like the Rosalin shaking your head. You said, don't go there.
maybe spoken language. So literally, like what I'm doing to you now, I'll put it on the paper. So sometimes I'll be writing and I'll say, look, let me check with Abeku. This is, paper. Yeah, everything. So when you're listening, it's like I'm expressing myself to the barest minimum on the script. And then when I get to the phones, then I stop.
Wow. So for this show, I want to explore something that I need help from the two of you about.
Okay.
Many people seem to be living with dyslexia, but they don't know.
Yes.
And then some also have an inkling, but are in denial. But the ones that I know, forgive me if I don't know a lot, but the ones that I know that seem to have be at the forefront of this campaign to create awareness are all people who have done extremely well for themselves. So it's almost ironic that something that's supposed to be a learning deficiency is manifesting rather in extraordinarily successful people. And from the days of Albert Einstein to the Muhammad Ali's, through the Steve Jobs, to Richard Branson, what is in this dyslexia that makes the dyslexics that find it so good? And that's what I want to explore today, so that the parent who has a child with dyslexia will be much more interested in the hidden gold in dyslexia than running away from a known condition. Does it make sense, Rosalin?
Yes, it does.
So what do they do? What do you do differently? What does the Chiame Kwame do differently? What do you do differently?
So dyslexics' mind is very like a superpower mindset.
Okay.
So for you will fall on your left brain. We use our right brain. And the right brain, all that you find there is creativity, innovation, curiosity. I was known to be a very lazy student. However, as all that was going on at a very young age, I was cooking. And it's not like cooking that somebody has taught me. I made my first pie at a very tender age, around 10. Who had taught me how to make pie? I was living in Sohom. There is no internet. But I knew that you can mix flour, you can mix margarine, you can mix different things, and you make your own pie. So that was my creative sense I was using at that time. And so it's not surprising getting to the culinary school, and it showed how the cooking that I loved started helping my mind to open up. We are very, very talented. Intelligence level is very high. And intelligence, unfortunately, has been described in our setting as you being able to read, write, and pass A in your exams. That is intelligence in an African setting. But intelligence is, what is the problem? How can I solve the problem? What can I create? What can I do as a human being for the world? And so it's two different things that we need to distinguish. I'm not saying as a dyslexic, you don't have to learn to read and write, especially if you are young, like Nana. But for Nana, at his age, taking time to have intervention is not the ideal here. He has so many things he can think about. And look at the work he's doing. Changing narratives in his republic, helping people to find themselves. This is the same person that changed like 16 schools because the schools saying they are not good. So it is the creative side, that innovative side, that curiosity. It is what makes a lot of successful dyslexics that you see. But those are just a minute percentage of the people who are dyslexics. A lot of the people who could have been the Albert Einstein or Chiame Kwame, Nana, Archbishop Duncan William, they are on the street or they are in the prison.
Why?
Because, like Nana said, we gravitate towards worlds where we find comforts. So if the school is making my life difficult, if the home is making my life difficult, what do? I drop out of school. And when I drop out of school, I may not stay in the house. I will join a different company. And if it's a bad company, what? I go and steal, I'm arrested, I'm put in the prison. I'm put in the prison. A lot of, about 80, research have stated, almost 80% of people in prison in US and UK are having learning deficiency, learning difficulty. It is as a result of that. But these are also very highly skilled people that if you interact with them, if you engage with them, you see that their level of intelligence, oh my God, what are you doing in prison? If you are that intelligent, it is because we said they are not good.
Now, would it be your opinion that this same undiscovered brain power, the right brain that Rosalin mentions, was channeled into the activities that led them into prison? Would that be your opinion?
Yes, because like she said, people who are dyslexic, number one, can think outside of the box.
Okay.
So if he joins, let's say, a criminal gang, he's the one that will tell you, no, go through the back window because the front window is not safe. And, you know,
almost intuitively,
they will know that this guy it could be a Yemfanenko because he will know which way to go and will be successful at the robbery. So you can, as dyslexics, who can think outside of the box. So as soon as they start the issue from 1, they would have taught to 10.
Oh.
That listen, by the time we get to 10, this will happen. So let's fix it. And everybody else will be there thinking, Adenti. So we are organizing an event. We are inviting this, you invited it. He's the one that will come and say, listen, where's the president going to sit? Okay. Meanwhile, everybody thought, oh, it's going to be. No, when he comes, we need to get a holding room for him. They are the ones that will always think well beyond what everybody else is thinking. So they are always needed. In a group, you always need them. And so that's why she's saying that if they don't find good company, recognition in good company, and they get to bad company, and bad company really need dyslexics because their job is very risky. So you need somebody who can prevent you from getting arrested. And so by all means, and just that day that you get unfortunate, you end up in jail. You know, but if you can harness it at an early age, on the right path, you have an Einstein, because they will think outside of the box. They will think. I always say, before you think, I have thought.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm getting it.
Before you think, I have thought. I can't put
this is springboard in your virtual university, reminding you that before you think, we have thought about what you are doing today, which is discovering what no one seems to be looking at. A certain unusual brain power and a certain unusual skill. Rosalin summarizes it as curiosity, innovation, and creativity, CIC. And she says that right side of the brain allows, and then says that allows a person to go 10 steps into a situation that you are still grappling with level 1 and level 2. When it comes to you, Nana, ask which subjects will the dyslexic literally love, and which one will they hate? Then I'll go on to which jobs will they love, which ones will they hate, and then I'll end up on, in the boardroom, which kinds of rare contribution will that dyslexic make in the corporate conversation. Let's start with what subject they just can't handle.
Mathematics.
Mathematics. Rosie, is that the case?
Yeah,
Was that your least favorite subject?
Mathematics, yes, but the one thing about dyslexics is if you could put 10 dyslexics here, we are not the same. We are all different. So that's why when you said, Nana, will his script be meaningful to me? And I was shaking my head. It was because it may be, but it may not be. So in as much as he doesn't like mathematics, I don't like mathematics, and I haven't been assessed with dyscalculia, but I'm sure if they assess me, I will be like somebody who has dyscalculia, which is associated with mathematics.
So you mentioned dyscalculia. That means that there are variations of dyslexia that manifest in different ways. Would that be the case?
So learning difficulties, we have different forms of learning difficulties, and dyslexia is the most common one, which the UK will say affects 1 in 10. The US will say affects 1 in 5. Then we have dyscalculia, which is mathematics. So it is not dyslexia, but it's dyscalculia. Struggle with mathematics. We have dysgraphia, handwriting. Dyspraxia, different types of learning difficulties, which we may have to break them down in maybe another point. So there are different types, but there are coexistence issues. So you could be dyslexic, and you could also be struggling with dyscalculia and dysgraphia. Me, my handwriting, if I write for you, you can't pick and read it.
Really?
No.
But you can read it.
I can read it, yes.
I know somebody like that, very, very, very close.
Okay.
So to tell me, the doctors too, or they their own is intentional.
But yes, I think it's intentional.
Partly intentional, but I'm sure some of them definitely suffers from some.
Yes. And you see, even doctors, I've met a doctor who is a dyslexic.
And how does that manifest?
And it's a Ghanaian doctor operating in the US.
Let me come to you in Ansah, Kwao. So we've cleared that the likelihood is that the child with dyslexia may struggle either with writing or with mathematics. What about reading? Okay.
Even at me. So it's like some people come and say, "Oh, Nana, we formed the group. We want you to be a secretary." What are you talking about?
I was going to come to that. So secretary like this shouldn't be something you want to tempt at all.
At all.
Why?
Because I can't put down whatever it is that you guys are saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't put it down.
So you can't transcribe. So,
no, I can't transcribe.
It's not your strength.
No, at all.
So let's settle on which kinds of jobs the dyslexic will be extremely good in.
Sales and marketing.
Sales and marketing.
Presenting. Yeah. Analysis.
Okay.
Explaining anything that involves speaking.
Speaking is great.
Speaking is great. You have no problem in speaking. No problem with expressing yourself. No problem with convincing. So, yeah, so that's what that be. Absolute. I was a top salesman.
Okay.
I was an absolute top salesman. I mean, people from other branches would come and try to poach me. You know,
what were you selling then?
I was doing high-end shoes. So I did Bally, I did Churches, Rosalin, Bromley. So these were
top UK brands.
Top UK brands. And I did Peugeot, I did Mercedes, I did VW. And, you hear of some hot salesman here, so they want to come. And it's very refreshing because you lived your life as good for nothing. And then all of a sudden, there are big guys asking you, Charlie, what should I give you to come and join my team?
Has somebody ever apologized to you for misunderstanding you when you were a child?
No. And, I went to many schools, and they all kicked me out because I wasn't good enough. Today, anytime there's a speech and prize giving day or something, they want me to come and pass through.
And they don't have an apology.
They want me to come and pass through so that, Charlie, they can say, oh, this guy is a product here. When I was a product, they didn't even want to know. So success has many friends, I guess.
Failure is an orphan.
Yeah, but, so if somebody is dyslexic, sales, they're all super.
Yeah.
Very super. Very good with people, relationship. They have no problem with relating to people and stuff like that. So, yeah, if you're dyslexic, you just avoid jobs that involve too much writing.
Okay.
Because that's no good. I mean, radio, I write, but I write for myself. I don't have to give it to anybody. I remember they kept saying, "Oh, why don't you give your script so that we put it on?"
Hey,
Let
do
me
your
see.
production, leave me alone.
So they kept saying, so they fired them too. They stopped.
They stopped asking.
They stopped asking. I gave them two. They stopped asking, but they literally had to rewrite from start to finish. My producer asked me, Nana,
How did you?
because I have these quotes until the lions have their own historians. He said, "But you said this thing, why are you writing it? You practically say this thing all the
Every
time.
day.
So if you're doing your script, why do you write it?" That's how it works for me.
Yeah.
Topic, date, title, until the lions have their own historians times 2, because I have to repeat
Say
it.
it loud.
then everything goes up. Yeah.
In the boardroom, what will be the likely advantage of having a dyslexic person in the boardroom?
Solve your solutions, solve your problems for you.
Solve your problems. Like, as I said before, we are so curious. We think outside the box. We excel in many fields, from engineering to culinary to arts, different creative sides. So if you have a dyslexic in your boardroom, most at times maybe the person may be quiet.
I can imagine that. Then they will release one bombshell.
Then they will listen to everybody and bring one thing and be like, this is what we are looking for all this while. And they also very good top executives. So I don't know if you watch the Shark Tank. The Shark Tank show has 2 dyslexic on it, 3 actually. Barbara, Mr. Wonderful, and John Damon. These are high investors. And how do they even listen and pick projects that they invest in? And they are very successful. So finding them in boardrooms, you will be lucky if you're a company and you have a dyslexic on your team. Not just in boardroom, but just on your team. And if you would give that chance for the person to really give you what is within them, by not, if you really look me down because I made a mistake, grammatical errors, I'm sorry, you will lose me. But if you will believe in their abilities and give them a room of operation, Springboard Show will be on a different level altogether.
This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. I can tell you something. This is a conversation like none other, exploring the side of dyslexia that we have never been raised to look at. Not the difficulties of it, which by now we are quite familiar with, but the hidden power of the dyslexic. Call someone to call someone to call someone about this incredible conversation. Why you need them in the classroom, why you need them in the workplace, why you need them in the boardroom.
Yes.
This is about why you need a dyslexic.
Yes.
When I come back from this break, let's go a bit more into what no one else is talking about: the power, the advantage, the brain of the dyslexic, and how it can be a powerful tool for societal transformation. This is Springboard, your virtual university. Please don't go away. Welcome back to Springboard, your virtual university. And between the traditional ruler and the advocate, I am convinced that everyone needs a dyslexic. How do we make that happen? This is Springboard, your virtual university, brought to you by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation and proudly sponsored by MTN Ghana and the Enterprise Group, powered by the Ghana Growth Program, a collaboration between MasterCard Foundation and the Springboard Roadshow Foundation. Our media partners, the Multimedia Group and the Graphic Communications Group. Let me tell you about the Ghana Growth Program and why, if you are a young person aged between 15 and 35, especially if you are a young woman, this could be the experience of a lifetime for you. And so the Ghana Growth Program is exciting young people about careers in agriculture, agribusiness, and ATVET. And I'm excited to announce that just in the last week alone, we celebrated at the Agrofusion Festival in Koforidua 10 brilliant young people doing great things, 7 women, 3 men, doing great things in agriculture, agribusiness, and ATVET. And some of them will be on the show in the next few weeks. And just celebrating their accomplishments with an award, a trip outside the country, and exposure to what other people are doing in other parts of the world was just a big highlight. If you're a young person and you want to find out what's going on in these sectors, the hotline to call or WhatsApp to find out more about the Ghana Growth Program is the number 03082557775. 03082557775. Ask about opportunities in these sectors and you will find some very exciting news. Also, to bring you the Enterprise Advantage tip about insurance. And the question is, can I buy motor insurance for 3 months? The answer is you can even buy for a month, as short as a month and as long as 12 months. So if you have a guest coming in from outside the country and they want to buy insurance for just a month and go back, hey, you can do that very easily. But per the pricing guidelines, buying for a month will mean it's more expensive than buying for a whole year. But hey, you can go ahead and take advantage if you are here for only a month to buy insurance for that period. This tip is brought to you by the Enterprise Group. The number to call 030-263-4777. Email info@myenterprisegroup.io. Enterprise, your advantage. Let me come to my guests, Rosalin, Kyere-Nartey, and Ansah, Kwao the fourth, who have been so gracious to share your journey, your learnings with me. And I get to be excited today because for once, we've shifted our narrative beyond the challenges of dyslexia to the sheer power of having a dyslexic in the team. And I have a feeling that this will make many parents, many young people, many teachers stop and see, what have we missed? So Rosalin, during the break, you were giving me a very interesting stat that got me saying, whoa, let's talk again. So what were you telling me about intelligence?
So I was telling you that in the UK last year, reports came out, and I'm trying to remember the report, and I'll send it to you, which says that UK intelligence units had about 60% of their intelligence units being dyslexic people. And it explained clearly what Nana told you, is thinking above everybody. So you at 1 and they are already 10. So they excel very well because they can pinpoint every holes in everything they are doing. So I wasn't surprised when I saw that report coming. And even looking at myself, if I look at my curiosity level, how very analytical and thoughtful I am. Yesterday, Anita called me. I'll share that with you when we end. Before she said what she was going to tell me, I knew it was going to happen because I had felt it that it might be that we would be 2 people on the show instead of 3. So that's how our mind works.
You've gotten me extremely excited. Are there instances in your life where you say something and somebody says, how do you know? And you say, I just know. But you can't explain how you know it.
Yes, there are instances that if something happened over the weekend, for example, and it will shock you, I saw it ahead and it before it happened.
There must be a science behind this intuition and this uncanny ability to see what you didn't learn, what no one told you?
I think so. I think, when I was much younger, I had that, that third eye, I had it stronger, but I lost it along the way. Yeah, I lost it along the way. But then I could definitely tell you that this is what will happen when you arrive at the hospital. This is what will happen. This is what the doctor will tell you. I could do that. But now I didn't pay too much.
Probably because you didn't see the power that you had.
I lost it along the way. But
you were telling me about the richest people in
the UK.
Also,
40%,
another report.
40% of the millionaires in the UK are dyslexic.
No, say that again. I want to hear it in my left and my right ear.
Yeah, so you can Google it. 40% of the millionaires in the UK are dyslexic.
Yeah, and even in the world.
Pardon me. Why?
Well, see, because of their ability to solve problems and to think ahead. So when they go into entrepreneurship, they know which product that people are going to need by next month and probably buy it before everybody else.
Because they can piece things together far faster
than the ordinary man.
In all your advocacy, have you ever seen an advert that says, if you are dyslexic, it's an advantage for this job?
Probably this is the first one.
Yes. I see it, but not in an African context. Not in an African context.
But you know I'm going with this.
Yes, in UK and in US, they talk about how the superpower of dyslexics and how they do so well. And now it's even enviable to people who are not dyslexic to be like, oh, I want to be dyslexic as well, because you guys have so much strength and ability in you that ordinarily you don't have. And that is why dyslexic thinking has been adapted in the dictionary as an official word. And it happened, Richard Branson was the one who championed that, and now dyslexic thinking is a working word. So I, on my LinkedIn now, have it. When you go on my LinkedIn, it shows that one of my skills is dyslexic thinking.
If you write your CV right now,
Rosalin,
you will put it there.
I will put it there.
My strengths are dyslexic thinking.
Yes, I'm a dyslexic thinker. And even in my signature in my email, I have there that I'm dyslexic, expect small typos are big thinkings.
Wow.
That's the ending of my signature.
Small typos, big thinking.
Yeah.
Nana, tell me about the power of the narrative, because this is all about narrative. Mm-hmm. The same thing. I mean, you told me before the show that even now there are moments that for somebody else would be extremely embarrassing. And for the benefit of our listeners and viewers.
Let me tell you, I took Enunyam to swimming. She was probably about 5 then. At the time, I couldn't spell Enunyam. So she has to write it because she had to put her name down for security reasons. And I couldn't spell it, so she has to write it. And because she was 5, she was using like 2-3 spaces. And the security guy was upset. And I told him off. At this age, could you have written Enunyam? But I couldn't spell it. And, on a bad day.
You couldn't spell your own daughter's name?
No, I couldn't spell it. It was too long. I can't put it together. Yeah, I can't put it together.
But you give her the name.
She's got like 8 names. I remember KSM asking me, so what do you call her? I call her girl. And
then
she just burst out laughing.
Yeah, simple.
Girl, yeah, simple. Look, my own name. Nana Ansah Kwao. I'm okay with Nana, I'm okay with Kwao. Ansah. On a bad day, I struggle.
To spell your own name?
Yes, Ansah. So, you see, that's what I'm saying. It's not, now we're sitting here, we talk as if it's a joke, but it's not. It's not. If so you get to a place and they say, "Oh, come and register your name." Oh, NA, and then now Ansah, is it AN or is it AH or is it Yeah, I'm stuck.
Forgive me if I'm struggling to believe it, but you can relate to it more than everyone else.
Yeah.
And how does it feel?
Well, you see, today now I can gloss over it, but honestly, like if I come, like I'm going to register my name, so the people there are all new, and you're an old man. Trudy, they hear you on radio. Some of them want to take a picture with you because you are the big boss, and you're struggling to write your name.
Yeah.
It's like, why did they even invite him?
So what you write sometimes cancel.
Sometimes you write, is it AH? Is it AN? Or is it the S comes out? Yeah, on a bad day, it's tough.
What makes a day bad?
I don't know. It's probably genetical. See, and that's why it's frustrating for the teacher. Because Monday, the child did the work. Tuesday, he comes and she says, I can't do it. It's like, why should I? Because yesterday you did it. So why wouldn't you do it today? But I'm telling families, organizations, and people that the dyslexic person in your family is the one that's going to carry you all on the shoulder.
The reason is because the power of the narrative, shows like this and several others have created a platform where we can freely talk about this with no embarrassment. And we are curious, we are actually asking the questions that will help us to understand better.
You see, I think our
How
problem is
important is the narrative in changing a situation that could have otherwise been so...
No, we don't have enough time to express the narrative. Look, I went to 10 schools to do O-level. So now I'm saying, to do right O-level. So I'm saying you haven't got enough time to write. So it is very important.
Say that again.
I went to 10 schools
just
to write O-level.
And they say no.
No good enough. Go to this one. No good enough. Go to this one. Yeah.
How?
Because I wasn't good enough. I couldn't, because you see.
So do you remember the schools?
Jack and Jill, Northridge Lyceum. No, Martin the Porries. No, Jack and Jill, Martin the Porries, Northridge Lyceum, back to Martin the Porries. And then some school at the did O-level in some school at some Mosu there, and prior so Accra Academy and Kotia Secondary, Harvard, and did O-level somewhere else. It's tough. When you can't seriously know. So can you imagine? My father's firstborn. My father's firstborn.
And what's the dynamic about being the firstborn?
Yes,
and
I have 6 siblings behind me. My father was so disappointed. It's like he's done everything. House teachers, extra classes, everything. But the thing is that, I keep saying, it's like a fish and a monkey, and they put a swimming pool there, and they say, this is your exam, swim. And they say the monkey is not good enough. Why don't you just bring a tree? And let's see what the fish will also do.
Let's go back to basics.
Yeah.
The hunt, the search for that superstar, that dyslexic. What should we do differently? Let's start with you, Rosalin. let me let you catch your breath for a minute. What should we do differently?
We need to create awareness. More awareness. Okay. And for us at Africa Dyslexia Organization, one of the biggest vision that we have as an organization is to have a dyslexia institution. And the goal is a place that is enabling skills development for dyslexics. If we have a unit like that, I'm telling you, I can promise you in the next 10, 15 years, you will find a lot of Nana Ansah, the Albert Einsteins, the Whoopi Goldbergs, the Muhammad Alis. You will find them in Ghana and in Africa.
There are 2 schools of thought on this, and help me to educate me. One school of thought says, create specialized institutions that understand the peculiarities of that child and supports them in the way that they should. Others say, isolating them alone is part of the problem. Let them be with other children and adapt the way of teaching to be able to cater for their needs. Which of the 2 schools do you belong to?
Yes, I like that you brought this in the perspective. A child like Nana who is in school, fine, in a mainstream school, let's train teachers, let's empower parents to have tailored intervention for them.
What form should those interventions take?
In a multi-sensory way. Teachers need to teach in a multi-sensory way. Kinesthetic, tactile, auditory, reading and writing. So
these are big words for me. So for my viewers and listeners, break it down. When you say tactile, kinesthetic, auditory.
Kinesthetic, visual, tactile is all hands-on and involving.
So one involves what they see.
One involves
what they touch.
They use their hand to do. They experiential learning.
So for instance, a child gets animated when it gets to things that involve the use of their hands, and then they get bored when it's English class or maths class. Take a second look for, that child
is likely to be having a sign of, and a lot of our dyslexics, I've met a child who would take the remote and dismantle it and put it back together.
Why?
Because that's engineering. Are you studying your child to know, okay, but in our typical home, it will be like, Kofi, stop it, and you're beating the person. but the child is expressing what his interest is.
Okay.
Because he doesn't have resources that he will pick on to utilize. He's just picking your laptop, and fidgeting with it.
Okay.
He's going onto the wiring in the house and dismantling it and putting it back together.
Do you think dyslexics will play chess well? Because from what you described, I have a feeling that if the person can figure out 10 steps ahead of you, then they'll be very good in chess.
I don't play chess or draft, but I suppose those who play chess or draft and have dyslexia should do very, very good.
In my thinking, that would be...
Yeah, but you see, Reverend, 90% of the talent of the dyslexic is not needed in mainstream academia. So like me, mine is talking or expressing myself. They are writing and beating talkatives in class. So how are you going to express that in class? You don't need that talent in the class for you to talk. Even though when it came to like discussing issues, raise your hands up and who understands, I was always the first. Yet still no teacher paused to say, how come when we were discussing it, you led the class, but then this is what you produce? No, nobody paused.
Should we review or revise our approach to teaching?
It is crucial.
We need to.
It is absolutely crucial. Look, if you identify somebody as having dyslexia, you know that they will need probably another 20 minutes to finish their work.
So more time.
They need more time.
Okay.
He or she understands, but just needs more time to read or more time to reproduce their work. And if possible, can you call them aside and ask them to explain what you have written on the paper?
Okay.
Because they are unable to. I mean, there are certain times, I'm writing and I know I want to use this word, but it's too big. So I need to find a smaller word to fit in there. But that word would have made my work more richer. But because I can't spell it, and sometimes, so I use, spell check. I get it so wrong, even the phone doesn't even know what I'm trying to spell. Yeah, but sometimes when you're like, options, sometimes it's so just...
Even the phone is confused.
The phone guy knows, and I let it go like that. And I'm sure the person already know that.
So if you had an option where you do an audio...
Oh my God.
Audio of the essay, instead of writing it, you would have preferred it.
Fantastic.
But that should be doable.
We don't have that in our system. A lot of applications.
The teacher should be able to just pick up and know that there are 5 people who, after they have written the paper, would go into a classroom and say, yep, discuss the essay.
I am still thinking through young people I've interacted with who can rattle an essay from top to bottom and yet write it with so many capitals written
things
small
like
letter.
is there, B, you miss all that.
Okay.
But when you're writing, you see it all. But after you're reading through, you realize, I'm going to school. Says, I'm going to school.
Okay.
You just leave the 2. Or he's going to be in at 5. So he's going to 5. You leave the B. So all those little words, you just miss it. You just miss it. But when you're writing, you see.
It's a beautiful learning experience for me.
Yeah.
But if you have a dyslexic in your class, your company, and your family, it's most likely that the family is going to ride on that boy's shoulder or that girl's shoulder. So preserve it.
Wow, that's what I want to wrap up with. How do families even know that the child is dyslexic? And what kinds of narrative must they avoid? How can that child's confidence be built to become that star that they potentially could become?
You will realize that the child's intelligence, his interaction, it's not the same as his what is put on paper. As soon as there's that disjoint, investigate. Why is Amma so good in the kitchen? Why is she so good at dressing or so good at designing, but yet still producing this stuff on paper? Handwriting is not working out. Investigate it. Investigate. And if he's diagnosed as dyslexia, whatever that talent is,
nature,
boost it. Yeah. And what then happens is that now they enjoy school. Because when it's okay, I have a problem. I'm trying my best here, but mine is dressmaking. Mine is putting colors together. Mine is speaking. I had a drama troupe when I was in Martin the Porous. I was last in the class, and every time I'll write a play for them and we'll act, and the whole school was happy.
But yes, still they didn't.
But yes, still the teachers couldn't. I didn't acquaint me through a play. and all these guys come and act it back. So as soon as you see that, don't throw that child away. She or he is that one that you're going to ride on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about two things and then we can wrap up. We keep saying diagnose. What is the standard acceptable procedure for being able to diagnose someone as being dyslexic? Not suspicion, but scientifically.
There are professionals, licensed psychologists who do assessments for dyslexia. So before someone can be called dyslexic, they have to have that. And it also opens that door to have conversation with the school to provide individualized learning plan for the child. So it has to be done by a licensed assessor and then have the report. Yeah.
How easy are they to find and how expensive is it to get? Because at the end of the day, Nana, if we cannot make this opportunity available to that mother or that father who economically is already disenfranchised and is looking at that child as their hope, and the child doesn't seem to be getting what they think the child should get, if we add a huge bill for going to check whether Alain or as the guys will say there is something, it will just be a disincentive. Are these assessors available, easy to find?
Some are. Unfortunately, as a country like Ghana, it's not enough. What we have is just very minute. Like if you have a case in the Upper North, Takwa and all those things, we always ask them to come to Accra.
But let's even start from Accra.
Even
somebody's
within
listening to
Accra here, we have the National Assessment Center, which I really will plead for our government to look at the place. It is for assessment center for all special cases. It's at Achimota. They need to go and refurb the place, put the place together and put personnel there who can support. We also have private practitioners, so it costs like $200, which is a lot for
a lot of money for that
the average, for that struggling family. So we need a lot of support. You could also go to the Rich Hospital, the Kolebu, their psychology department, the clinical psychologists are able to also do assessment at an affordable rate for people as well.
Nana, what will be your contribution to this aspect of how to make this more, not just a flash in the pan, one or two known exciting stories, but a plethora all over the place? If I wanted a pool of 200 accomplished dyslexics, I shouldn't struggle. How do we move from where we are now to a place like that?
Well, I think you have started. Somebody would look and say, if Nana Ansah is dyslexic, then it means Miyaka. If Rosalin is there with all her championing and she's talking about it, then I can also. I think that will draw a few people. I didn't know I was dyslexic until my son's teacher called me to report my son to me, and I realized, is this teacher talking about me? Because everything that he can talk, he can't spell. Hold on. Then I came home, read about it, I said, oh my God. So all this beating and school changing and everything, this was the issue. And then from then I started navigating. So look, no professional diagnosed me or whatever it is. I just didn't give up. You have your strength. There's absolutely nobody on this earth that God sent without a talent. It is impossible that God will send you out to this earth and not give you one talent. Hey, he'll give you beautiful eyes. And you can go and do optical model. You can get beautiful eyes. You just did the opticians will come and take you picture and you make money. Everybody that God sent to this earth, he gave a talent to.
You know what? As for the two of you, I can talk to you for 2 hours and still have more questions to ask. But I want to say a big thank you to you for always being available to help throw light on this very beautiful and yet very relatively unknown phenomenon. And one thing I love about today is that we spent, a good friend of mine, Lucy Quest, says, sometimes we spend 90% of the time talking about the problem and 10% of the time talking about the solution. Today, it's exciting that we spent less time talking about the problem and more time talking about the sheer power, the incredible assets of a dyslexic. And I'm looking forward to more people submitting their CVs and saying, hey, just in case you didn't know, I'm a dyslexic and I bring some unusual advantages to this company. And to find companies saying the moment they saw that, that was the go-to. And that person turned out to be a brilliant hire. So a big thank you to you, Nana Ansah Kwao, for making yourself available. The fourth of Edumasa, for making yourself available. I almost said Republic. And thank you to you, Rosalin Kyere-Nartey, for holding up the banner of dyslexia with the Africa Dyslexic Organization. So October has been a very busy month for you.
It is a busy month, Dyslexia Awareness Month.
Yes. And it's fulfilling, isn't it?
It is fulfilling. It gives us the time to do back-to-back events. This year, we are focusing more on what parents can do at home to support their child with dyslexics. So we've been doing webinars and parents' questions that are coming in. It's so eye-opening, but it gives me joy that the parents are willing to learn something to support their kids. And so our database is growing. And so I'll be able to provide you a tall list of young kids, the youth and adults who are now saying they are dyslexics. And we hoping that with Awareness Month around, we'll get a lot of support also from our government, the Ministry of Education, individuals, corporations who believe in what we are saying, or just call us to come to your workplace to even create awareness to start with. But we're looking for more partnership.
The moment you say call us, as for Africa Dyslexia Organization, when you come in, we ourselves will do the advert for you. So when you say call us, would you want to give us a number, a website? What should they do if they want to find you?
They can find us on www.africadyslexia.org and also email us at info@africadyslexia.org as well. And we are very responsive. We are on all social media platforms. We want to do this with the community. We want to do this with Ghana. It is something for Ghana. We want to grow it beyond Ghana. And we need partners on board.
Incredible. A big thank you to you, Rosalin Kyere-Nartey, for that word. And the good news, my friends, is that since we had that last conversation, just the sheer number of people that have reached out to say, we are now aware and want to be part of what the Africa Dyslexia Organization is doing, is just heartwarming. A reminder that once we create the awareness, the collaborations can happen. So Nana Ansah Kwao and Rosalin Kyere-Nartey, thanks for joining us on the show to talk about dyslexia and making it so real to us. Here at Springboard, we've just released these books that capture 200 stories of young people venturing out into agriculture, agribusiness, technical and vocational areas and doing incredible things. Who knows? Some of them might even be dyslexic. But just as a way of saying thank you to you for joining us and to remind you of our collective commitment to promoting and supporting young people, permit me to present you with your copies of the book.
Thank you very much.
Yes. And then Nana Ansah Kwao, this is yours.
Thank you very much.
Just celebrating young people, what they are doing. And this is in all 16 regions of this country.
Beautiful.
And we are giving it out for free. So if you're watching us on today's exciting edition of Springboard, and you would like to have a copy, go onto our Facebook stream of this conversation and just write what you have learned about dyslexics and why we should think differently about dyslexia. And if you write a compelling enough story, we'll actually not just give you the book for free, ship it to you wherever you are in the world at no cost to you. The book for free, the shipment for free. Just tell us why we need a dyslexic. And that's simply it. And you get to get a copy of this book, Changing Narratives by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation, put together as part of the Ghana Growth Program of the MasterCard Foundation, Springboard, and partners. So hey, go on the stream, Albert Okran on Facebook, and just write why we need more dyslexics in our society and make a compelling case for putting them on the board, putting them in the management team. And once you make a convincing case, you get to get this book shipped to you for free. Thank you, and God bless you.